Hi there, welcome to Heart Smart Home Cooking. My name is Laura Ravey and March is Nutrition Month, which is why we are showing you some great recipes that are easy to make and very healthy from the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba. This is Christine Hood. How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
So we're making pizza today. This is an exciting recipe because we're really trying to involve the kids. What you're seeing right now are the kids who are going to be finishing the pizza off for us later. They're very excited to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing their end result here. But right now, what is our first step?
Before we even get started, going with a pizza that's a heart-healthy pizza has some challenges because of all the high-fat toppings and different things that we often use. But we'll talk about with our dough recipe and our quick and easy pizza sauce recipe today that we can actually make that happen. So we'll get started with our dough. Now we've got a cup of all-purpose flour and a half a cup of whole wheat flour that's going in here. We're adding in a package of quick rise instant yeast,
okay,
and a little bit of salt, and we're going to mix that together. I mean, do you want to
sure.
give that a mix?
So we're using the whole wheat again. We're trying to get used to the idea of whole wheat, not just white flour.
Right. We're using whole wheat flour in there to increase the fiber content. So we're going to add in just about a tablespoon of canola oil into our water, and that's all going to go into our flour, and we're going to get that mixed around. And this dough is, it's a really easy dough to make. I think sometimes homemade dough can sound a little bit intimidating, but this one's really easy to make. And it's easy, and it's also a way to get some extra fiber in as well. So we'll get that going. And we're going to add in a little bit more flour along the edges here.
Okay.
Do you want me to
I'll let you
start
take
doing
over.
that? That'd be great. And basically this flour is going to kind of make into a ball here, and we're going to eventually put this onto our counter and start kneading it until it's nice and smooth and elastic.
Oh, okay. So pizza crust does sound a little bit intimidating. You always think of the fancy, traditional way of making the crust, but this doesn't really seem that difficult.
No, it's not difficult at all, and it's actually very straightforward. And it takes a very short amount of time as well, so that's a great thing. And like you said before, it's going to be great to get kids involved in doing a project like this as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it depends on their age range. I mean, to be kneading the dough and certain things like that takes certain ability.
Yeah, that's right. There's certain things, and certainly at the end of the pizza when we start using our toppings and things like that, that's a great thing for the kids to be involved in. We talk about trying to get people involved in family meals, and it's very difficult these days with all of our schedules and appointments and everything that's going on. But it's important to sit down together as a family. There's studies that show that families that sit down regularly and eat family meals together tend to eat better. The kids tend to eat more vegetables and fruit. They tend to eat less fried food, less saturated in trans fat, and they get more fiber and calcium in their diet. And there's other benefits as well. Better school performance has been reported, as well as regular family communication. So there's lots of great reasons to get a Friday night pizza night as a regular part of your family's busy schedule.
And that's a great idea. It's something to look forward to all week long. Something to even have, you know, friends come over.
Absolutely.
And just get in the habit of doing that. And it's a good skill to learn just growing up too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the dough's getting...
So the dough's just about ready. So what we would do when we had a little bit more time is we would knead this on the counter and make it nice and smooth and elastic. And once that happened, we'd put it back in the bowl, cover it for about 10 minutes, let it rest, and then we could spread it out onto our pizza pan. Now this dough recipe will make about a 15-inch pizza, or it can also make about 5-6-inch mini pizzas if you'd rather go in that direction as well.
Okay.
So that is, I'm just going to move that to the side. And the other thing with the dough is that you can also put that in the fridge for up to 8 hours, or else you can freeze it for up to a month as well. So that's
huge time
something
saver.
we can do that for sure. Yep.
Okay, so
onto our sauce.
Now, that didn't seem that difficult, and you have a great idea to make sauce, and you'd think it would be easier to go to the store and just buy a jar of sauce, but you have a shortcut that is really interesting.
You know what, you're right. A lot of the store-bought sauces tend to be very high in sodium. In fact, 1/2 cup can contain 700 milligrams or even more of sodium, which is roughly a third of our maximum sodium intake for the day. So we want to, it is a nice idea to take the fresh tomatoes and make sauce, and if you have the time, fabulous. But today we're going to do a bit of a shortcut. So we've already started on our stove here. We've softened up some onion in the canola oil.
Okay.
And what we're going to do from there is we're going to actually use some crushed tomatoes as the base of our sauce. Now it's still a canned product, but it is a lot lower in sodium. So we're going to just combine that, if you want to dump that in. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not going to miss that sodium that's not in there, because we're adding some other vibrant flavors as well. We've got some fresh oregano.
Okay.
And we've got some fresh basil. You can smell that, it's just fabulous.
Oh yeah, wow.
And we've got some red pepper flakes and also some garlic. So all we're going to do is mix those together.
Okay.
And that's going to have to simmer for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And after that, it is pretty much ready to go. So we've made some sauce ahead of time today to kind of speed up the process.
It
so
looks much nicer than the usual
Yeah.
jar stuff too.
Yeah,
It's got
it
little
does.
flecks of
It does.
green. It just looks healthier.
It does, and with all that's going on in the pizza, with all the flavors and the great flavors, we're not going to miss that sodium at all. That's not in there.
Okay. Well, let's take a moment and check in on the kids and see how they're doing, because they're decorating their own pizzas, right? They're making their own pizzas right now.
That's the word we like to use in our house, is decorating the pizza. That's the fun part of the project.
And we were saying that it's pretty creative. I mean, your kids can kind of go whichever way they want with this. You can't really go wrong. It's all pretty wholesome ingredients. You get the sauce on there, you get the cheese, and go from there.
Definitely. There's lots of opportunity for creativity. That's
It looks like they're having fun. But
That's right.
back to our pizza here, which is more the standard pizza.
Absolutely.
The adult pizza.
We're going to just spread our sauce a little bit. I don't know if you want to grab a spoon and help out too. Now this pizza sauce recipe that we just made makes over 3 cups of sauce, and we don't actually need that much for our pizza, but you can also take the extra portions and freeze them for a later date, and that would work out as well. So there's lots of family traditions that start in the kitchen around meal times and around food, and it's a great opportunity to get the kids in the kitchen and talk about that kind of stuff, as well as take time to teach them some valuable cooking skills and techniques as well.
And there's the social reasons, and there's the health reasons, and then there's the actual heart health reasons.
Definitely, yeah. When we're making heart-healthy recipes, we always are trying to, first of all, focus on Canada's food guide and getting lots of vegetables and fruit in there. We also want to choose ingredients that are lower in sodium, higher in fiber, and of course we want to choose healthier fats, such as the canola oil that we used in our dough and our sauce as well.
Okay, and so we've made some healthy choices, but we don't want to just stop at the dough and the sauce. We want to make sure the toppings are healthy too, because if you go and add bacon onto this, it's probably not going to be as heart smart.
Right, that's kind of where the problems start to lie.
Right.
And the sauce is one of the issues, but certainly the toppings as well. So we want to really try to avoid the higher fat, higher sodium ingredients such as the bacon, the sausage, the pepperoni, the salami, and those kinds of things. So a good idea is to try to focus on as many vegetable toppings as you can. So you can see we've got a variety of colored peppers here today, mushrooms, red onion, and we do have some cooked beef as well. If you want to add a bit of extra protein, we've got some ham there as well. Cooked chicken would also be another way to add some more protein to the pizza. And then of course there's the cheese, which is another problem that often can arise, not because cheese is a bad food, but we tend to use more of it than we probably should. So that ends up being a bit of an issue. So we want to just concentrate on the lower fat toppings, lots of veggies, and control the portions of cheese.
Okay, so which should we put on here?
Let's get creative.
Okay, wow, all right.
Whatever you want to do, we can get going with this.
Start with red peppers.
Okay, and I'll start with some onions.
And so when you do go to cook this, how hot are you cooking it for, and for how long?
You know, pizza, making your own pizza, you can do what you're comfortable with, usually around 400 degrees or so, depending on what kind of a crust you like.
Okay.
You know, there's some flexibility there as well.
Well, it's great to have a crust recipe.
It is, and like I said, it does make the 5 or 6 6-inch minis as well. So it's a great chance for the kids to get creative and show their skills off in the kitchen.
Well, their pizzas might be beating ours here. I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what ends up on those pizzas
Ours
as well.
is a little bit... Okay, well, so the general idea, obviously, to make your own pizza, and then should we be super, moderate with cheese, or? As I'm adding more on.
Within reason, we want to make sure. I mean, a Canada Food Guide serving of cheese is about an ounce and a half, or about 50 grams. So, roughly in that ballpark is good to kind of keep the portions in size. And also choosing a lower fat cheese is a good idea as well, because that also helps to keep that saturated fat content down too. Excellent. Well, this looks like a beautiful pizza. Yeah, we did well. Yes, we did. Okay, well, if you're interested in finding this recipe, you can go online to the foundation of the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba. Their website is heartandstroke.mb.ca. You can download a copy of their cookbook. It's called Quick and Healthy Recipes the Whole Family Can Enjoy. They're in their 3rd volume, but all the recipes are new every year. So if you want to download one, you can go online to do that, or you can phone 1-888-473-4636 and have a copy mailed out to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.